So there's a lot of talk and discussion about democratic socialism, progressive leaning, socialist leaning, and a lot of labeling of people in our party. So I would like to talk about what's at the bottom of that. What's really there? What are the key issues that are really surfacing? And I think Bernie Sanders did a really good job of really making people more aware, because we were pretty darn pissed off at the banks, right, for what they did and putting us in a real economic crisis, like so irresponsible and so all about their own pocketbook or wallet. But anyway, I think as I've thought about it, what's really happened in the U.S. that's ticking people off is that the balance has tipped too far, so that companies have too much power over their workers. And I know Bernie just kept using the term workers, but we're not just talking about hourly workers or field workers or anything like that. I mean, this has to do with the white-collar workers as well. And I can give you some examples of stuff I've experienced that tells me, you know what, hey, let's all go watch let's go watch Norma Ray again and go, power to the workers, because we need to figure out a way to get this back on track. So when I was working at Verizon and AT&T, for example, and I know my patients who are in white-collar jobs say the same thing, it was not uncommon for, if somebody left, for them to assign the entire workload of that person or the majority of it to another worker and say, oh yeah, we'll get around to addressing any kind of salary issues at your next review. Well, did that ever happen? No, it never did, because there was a budget cut of this or that. So you have exhausted workers doing jobs of two people, and they don't care. If you don't like it, you can quit. But it's just really not the way it used to be. Another example is, so I work with a lot of insurance carriers. I have one really horrible insurance carrier I work with. I better not say their names, because maybe they'll happen to watch this video and sue me for slander. But anyway, they're so bad. And they do this thing where they say, well, we're only going to pay counselors for a 45-minute session, even though they know darn well all counselors do a 55, 60-minute session. And that is just a way of gypping us, outright stealing from their providers. And they figure, you don't like it, hey, appeal and see if you can get approved for a 55-minute session. Nobody is. I've been on the counselor blogs. Nobody is approved for a 55-minute session. So they pay us on the cheap. The other thing they've done is there has not been a rate increase for over 25 years for counselors. So essentially we're doing the same work for the same pay we were 25 years ago. No wonder, or it could be even more. We know there's been no raise for 25 years. So no wonder we're feeling a pinch. That's just really wrong. That's wrong. And I know there's a manufacturing facility near here where a lot of people work, and they are not unionized. And what they are doing is telling workers to take shortcuts. They're also making workers work even though they're disabled. If they have, some kind of injury, they could have letters and papers from the doctors saying they should work no more than 8 hours. They ignore that. They don't care. They're making them work with an injury that can have an impact on the job that they do, and that has an impact on safety in general. So I remember back in the day, so to speak, where I worked with the company Johnson & Johnson pretty closely. That company had real heart. The leadership and management, that was a very profitable company, and yet they totally cared about their workers. They were very, very much about you, keeping you, retaining you. If they hired you, they wanted you to continue working at J&J. They had daycare that they built on site. They had a fabulous maternity leave policy. And just everybody who worked there was so happy. And now I look around and everybody's frickin' miserable because these companies treat them like a piece of dirt that's totally replaceable. That's how I felt in corporate America towards the end of my experience. I'm like, oh, bye-bye, don't let the door hit you in the butt. So that the scales need to be tipped because we who are providing the workforce for corporations are not respected and are treated as just totally interchangeable. So that's one of the reasons I think people are getting kind of fed up and calling for a leaning towards some socialistic ideals. Think about that. All right. Bye-bye.